Now, from the Wagamachame irrigation scheme to Mwache Dam here, actually it is one of the largest here in Kwale County, and we want to take a look at how many people it serves in not just this devolved unit, but the neighboring regions within the coastal strip. Joining us once more is none other than the Principal Secretary, State Department of Irrigation, that is Cpa Ephantus Kimotho. PS, welcome.
Thank you for visiting Mwache.
How did we get here and some of the challenges, because not all communities are very receptive to mega projects that are being undertaken in a land that they have resided for a number of years. So as a government, through your partners, how were you able to reach and overcome those challenges?
We had quite a number of challenges, which actually we've been able to overcome, and that's why you can see this massive progress from 4% to 20%, which what we have currently. One of the challenges we had was land compensation. As I said earlier, you realize this land had not been adjudicated. So the first thing we did, we got them lawyers, succession lawyers, who helped in that. And so they ended up getting titles. After getting titles, we could be able now to do evaluation. So after that, the other challenge was now them being paid. And that again was a big challenge. And so we came up with a payment plan, starting with the priority areas. And also we had to divide it, because we're talking about 5,000 acres. So we say because we wanted to have the dam going on and at the same time competition going on. So we came with a plan of payments. And this priority area 1 and 2 is where you can see the main dam and the lower check dam. Then priority area 3 is mainly where we're going to be impounding water. And that will be happening from Feb 2027. So, but still, we have a payment plan whereby we're going to pay them by June next year. So all of it was 4.6 billion. Out of the 4.6, 1.6 has already been paid. Then the balance 3 billion, we just got the final evaluation from NLC like 2 months ago. And out of that 3 billion, so far we've already paid 1 billion. So we are remaining with 2 billion. And the 2 billion, we've gotten a confirmation from Treasury of an additional 600, so which again we'll start paying from January, Feb. Then after that, by March, we have done what we call an adjustment of the finance agreement with World Bank for the 1.4. So again, we are sure you'll also be getting that money again for March, so that by June they're all paid. So we just want to make sure that that will be a seamless flow, because also there's a process that NLC takes before they pay. So that was the first challenge, and that I think now is 100% done. And also the other thing is also communication. We've had a lot of engagement with, we've actually gotten a social specialist, a communication specialist, and also we've engaged them in every step of the way, also showing them the benefits that this dam will bring to them. Like now, for example, in matters of employment, 70% of the people who are working here, as you can see, we have quite a number of people. Today, being a Saturday, that's why there are not many people, but the other check dam and this, we are talking about over 870 people who are employed by this project. And 70% of those people, all of them come from Kwale County. And we've also ensured that every community, we have a community liaison leader. So whenever you're doing recruitment, they are there to ensure these are actually people from Kwale. That's what the other issue that we did. Then also there are some schools which not really affected by the dam, but they might be affected by the dust when the dam is being built. That we have Fulgani and Kunguni Fulgani Primary School and Kunguni Primary School, and also ECZ. So all those schools now, we've actually, again, in this particular project, we've done, we're going to do new schools. Like Fulgani had 18 classes. Now we're doing a modern school with 30 classes. So again, those are some of the benefits that the community has done. Then again, also, we've actually urged the contractor to establish a CSR system, whereby we'll be giving bursary every January. When the project is ongoing, we'll be giving bursary to the community around here. Again, that again will be that is cutting around Mavumbo and Kasemeni wards, whereby those are the 2 areas that the dam has actually affected. Then even in terms of matters irrigation, in the lower check dam, we've also added another component of solarization, using solar to pump water and use that water for irrigation. So we intend to do 1,000 acres of irrigation in that area. Again, we're also going to do 10 water pumps. This area, again, we have a lot of lagers flowing. So we'll be impounding those lagers. We'll be doing check dams so that we can impound those lagers and help them do agriculture and also do fodder for their livestock. So those are some of the interventions that we've done to make sure the community gets to understand the benefits of this dam. But the bigger benefit of this dam is actually that it's going to address a major issue in the coastal region in terms of matters water. In Mombasa County, we've been having a huge shortage of water. They only have water sufficiency is up to 25%. So this dam will come and address that gap of 75%, which has always been a big challenge in this county. per day we'll be having 186,000 cubic liters every single day. And in Kwale also we are upgrading one of the Kwale Urban, which before had approximately 1,000, now it will go all the way to 9,000 cubic liters per day. So here we intend to impound 136 million cubic, and that initial target was August 2026. But there were a few delays, one because of the strikes which happened some times back, and also when the contractor was trying to get the right quality. As you can see, he has not started the actual concreting. This will be starting sometimes in January, around mid-January. And when the concreting starts, this will not stop. It will go on for a whole 18 months. So we're expecting by July 2025, by July 2026, we should be done with this. So another additional 6 months. So we're talking about Feb 2027 is when we'll start impounding water for this dam. But the lower check dam, it should be done by June next year. Yeah, actually among the 100 dams, there are quite a number of them which are actually progressing well. As I said earlier, yesterday I told you, we advertised 34 of them where we had the full feasibility studies. The other 66 dams, we are currently doing a detailed feasibility study just to make sure that by the time we come to the market, they also are commercially viable, because most of them we are doing using PPP. Then out of the 34, State Department of Irrigation has 12, and of the 12, this is one of them. And we have also Swemuruni, which is also progressing very well. We have Boso Dam, which His Excellency the President will be launching sometimes early next year. We have Radat Dam, which is also progressing very well under PPP. We have Lowat Dam. We have Gongo Dam. We have Dhusi Dam. We have quite a number. And all of them, they are progressing very well. In short, we are looking at like next year might be an year of dams in terms of groundbreaking and handing over some. So I can say that is progressing very well, and that is actually the only way we are going to address the issue of food security. Because food security, because of the issue of climate change has happened, we realize that we can no longer depend on the rain-fed agriculture. Now we have to depend with irrigated agriculture, and for irrigated agriculture, for it to be sustainable and successful, we have to impound water. So that is the cornerstone of actually us addressing the issue of food security and ensuring our country is food secure, so that we can reduce the food imports. Currently, we are doing over 500 billion in terms of food imports. And also to ensure that we also revamp our manufacturing sector, because again, agriculture is a source of the raw materials for our, like cotton. Remember, we used to do a lot of cotton. So those are some of the materials we do. There's a export, need for export, there's for food security, and also for helping us in the manufacturing sector.
The lessons that you have just learned and how you have been able to overcome it at the end of the day with the people who are working here, are we likely to see this being used as a blueprint in other areas where people are not that receptive to a mega project like this?
We're in Baringo. We are doing a public participation about that dam, because as I said, we have an investor who is ready to come on board. But before we introduce the investor to the community, we went there, we sat down with the community, we showed them the benefits of doing that dam. Of course, they were asking a few questions, the issues of land compensation, which is the first thing we are going to address. The land compensation is normally done by the government. So as we talk, also we engage in Treasury to ensure they give us a budget line for land compensation. Once we are done with that part, we also look at which are the other benefits that the community would like. There are the same issues. They say, okay, the dam is being done, for example, in Mogotio, but the water is going to Baringo South. So how do we benefit as people in Mogotio? So we are looking at ways on the same way we are looking at ways on how probably we can do pumping of water through solar. Because we find the dam is always done in the upstream, but the downstream are the ones who are normally the beneficiaries. So those are some of the issues we'll be looking at. So every time we do such a dam, we'll also be looking at when you have the private party doing the dam, as government and GOK and using the development partners funds, we'll find other ways, introducing other components. The same way here we introduce the livelihood restoration component. Maybe there now what we may want more is more water to go for irrigation, using maybe a solarized system and that kind of a thing. Yeah. So we have learned a lot, and we're using these lessons to address the other issues in other counties. Yeah, the first thing is, first of all, we've ensured any farmer anywhere who is doing irrigation in their own small way, we are trying to support them we have introducing a program where we'll be supporting them by giving them subsidized solar. So whereby we look at the tax issues around that issue of the solar pumps. So there are a few development partners we are working on around that to support them on the community irrigation schemes, which most of them have had challenges of performance because of the market. So we're also working in association where we're getting aggregators When you get an aggregator, he guides the farmer on what to produce, the farmer gets money, and after that the farmer is also able to pay the operator for him to be able to maintain the infrastructure. Those are some of the things you're doing for the already existing. Then in our public schemes, which we've had a challenge of operational maintenance, because most of them have been using diesel or electricity for pumping. So to reduce that, we are changing most of them to solarization. We are solarizing most of our public schemes. Like Hola, we're already working on that. Ahero, we're already working on that. And some, we are doing what is called gravity. We are channeling water. We are channeling water to the farm through gravity, which now will reduce the cost of operation. We are doing that in Bura. We are doing that to also where we did that, and many other schemes. So that's what the other strategy. Then of course the other strategy now is what we are doing under PPP, whereby we are commercializing the large farms like Galana and Bura, so that we attract the private investors to do the same. Then now in the Asal County, whereby there we can say is food poor, we are actually trying to, and they have lagers, they have land, the only thing they lack is water. We also mapping the lagers and doing check down for the lagers, so that the lagers can also be able to help us impound water. After impounding that water, use that water for pasture. So that, because most of them, their livelihood is livestock, and that's why that will also go along with in also not only addressing the issue of food and pasture, but also resolving the issue of conflicts. Most of the conflicts that appear there because of resources, that is water and pasture. So by so doing, we'll also have brought peace in those Asal counties. So that's a bigger plan, and for us to do all that, that's a whole plan encompasses around 1 million acres. For us to do that, we also have to do impounding of water, and that's why we have a big plan of also water storage. Like I talk about this one here, we said we're going to impound another 6 million cubic. When I go to Galana, we're going to impound another 350 million cubic. When I go to Radar, the one I just mentioned, we're going to impound another 124 million cubic, and that cumulatively, that's why I talked about as how we have a plan of impounding over 1 billion cubic liters. And for us to do all that, do impound over 1 billion cubic liters of water and do 1 million acres of irrigation, all that requires resources. And that you're not talking about anything less than 1.5 trillion. 1.5 trillion, in the current budget we only have 20 billion, for example, per year. So you talk about the next 10 years or the next 8 years, that's around 160. So you see you're talking about approximately 10%. So the whole 90%, we have to look for a way. And one of the easiest ways, one of the innovative ways of doing that is through PPP and through climate funding. And that's why we are the forefront in working with private parties to ensure we resource mobilize through PPP and through climate finance.
You've heard it. It's not a matter of if, but when the 100 dams are realized at the end of the day, so that to ensure farmers and residents who are living across or even along these major dams that are being built across the country to not only depend on them for water, which is a very vital resource, but at the end of the day to engage or practice farming. From Mwache Dam, Kwale County, my name is Endyear. Back to you in studio.